Hi everyone, today we are talking about the Cartesian coordinate system. So the Cartesian coordinate system is basically your coordinate plane, which you might already be familiar with. It's called the Cartesian coordinate system because it was originally invented by René Descartes, who was a French mathematician. And basically, the story goes that Rene Descartes was looking up at the ceiling and saw a fly moving on it. And he started to think, if I wanted to be as precise or as accurate as possible, if I were trying to describe the location or the position of the fly, how would I exactly communicate that, right? So then obviously that included numbers, and that's how he came up with the coordinate system, which is comprised of your y-axis going up and down, and then your x-axis going left to right. Those of you who are familiar with the game Battleship, it kind of follows the same, idea where you're talking about a ship or an object's location going up and down and also left to right. If you're talking about the location of, let's say, a country on the globe on Earth, we also use something like the Cartesian coordinate system, except it's called longitude and latitude. Longitude and latitude, which also employs, an object's location going up and down and also left to right or north, south, east, and west. Okay, so let's talk more about this coordinate system. Like we said, there's, at the most basic level, your y-axis, which is going up and down, and then your x-axis going left to right. Your x-axis just like your normal number line with your negative numbers, your 0, and your positive numbers. Your y-axis is kind of like a thermometer. So you have your negative numbers on the bottom and your positive numbers on top. And together, we can use both these axes to give an object's very precise location. So for example, if we have this point P here, we can tell you its location horizontally on the x-axis, and then also its location vertically on the y-axis. And where those two locations meet will tell you exactly where point P is. Its location is written as a coordinate pair, so the location on the x-axis first, and then the location on the y-axis second. So it's in alphabetical order. Now, when you have your y-axis and your x-axis plotted together, you create 4 quadrants. So basically, those two axes divide up the space into 4 different areas. And those areas are numbered. So this is the first quadrant, then the second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. I like to remember it as them going in a C kind of shape. So 1 starts here, then to the left 2, quadrant 2, then 3, and then 4. That's how I remember the order, that it makes like a C shape, as if I'm writing the letter C. And then lastly, to review, you should know that the center for both the y-axis and the x-axis is where both those values are 0. It's 0, 0. It has a special name of origin. The origin is in the middle. Okay, so again, very important so that we all communicate well together. is that the first number in your coordinate pair is the location on the x-axis, then the y-axis. So the first number going left to right, and then top to bottom. So some people like to remember that you first walk before you fly. So you always walk to find your first number, and then you go up and down. You fly to find your second number. All right, so let's go over an example from your book to practice. Example 1 wants you to state the coordinates of the points A and B in the above diagram. Then state the quadrants in which A and B lie. And lastly, plot the points C, D, E, and F using those coordinate pairs on the diagram. Go ahead and pause the video and try it on your own first. All right, so first we're going to state the coordinates of points A and B in the diagram. So A, remember we want to find the x value, then the y value. So starting from the center, I'm going to walk over to where I find A. That's at -2. So that's my first number. And then I'm going to fly up to where it meets A, and that's 1. So A is at -2, 1. For B, I'm going to do the same thing. Start at my origin. That's my starting point. I'm going to walk over to where it meets B, which is at 1, +1. And then I'm going to fly down to -2. So A is -2, 1. B is 1, -2. They're actually opposites of each other. And this is why the order is very important. You want to walk to your x value and then fly up or down to your y value. So that's why these are actually in completely different quadrants. Speaking of quadrants, part B wants us to state the quadrants in which A and B lie. Remember, the quadrants make a C, starting with quadrant 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4. So A lies in quadrant 2, and then B lies in quadrant 4. So we have quadrant 2 and quadrant 4 for A and B. So the other interesting thing to note about the quadrants is they are opposites of each other. Quadrant 1 right here, if you notice, are all positive numbers. My x's are positive here, and my y's are positive here. Quadrant 3 is the opposite. My x's are negative, and my y's are also negative. So the ones diagonal from each other are opposites of each other. If we look at quadrant 2, I have negative x's and then positive y's. And diagonal to that, quadrant 4, I have positive x's and negative y's. So they are opposites of each other, the ones that are across from each other. And that's just the way that the coordinate plane is set up. All right, let's look at C. C wants us to find or to plot C, D, E, and F. So let me clear off my board real quick. So C, let's plot 2, 3. So 2, I need to find 2 first by walking there, and then fly up to 3. That's C. Let me label it. D is at 0, 2. So I find my center, my origin. I don't need to walk anywhere. I'm already at 0, which is my first number. Then I fly up to 2. So this is D. 0, 2. Okay, and then E is at -3. Walk to -3 first, and then fly up to 0. Well, I'm already at 0. So here's E. And then F, I need to walk to -2, which is right here, and then fly down to -3. So that's F, -2, -3. Okay, let's try example 2. The try it in your book. For this problem, you need to state the coordinates of the points P and Q, then the quadrants, and then graph R, S, T, and U. Go ahead and pause the video, try it on your own first. All right, let's try A. A says to state the coordinates of P and Q. Okay, P, we can write it up here. We had to start at the origin, walk over to 3. That's our first number, and then fly up to 1, 3, 1. For Q, same thing, start at the origin, walk over to -2, first number, then fly down to -1. -2, -1 is our answer there. Okay, B, state the quadrants that P and Q lie in. Remember, it's in the C shape, 1, 2, 3, 4. So P is in quadrant 1 and Q is in quadrant 3. And lastly, C, we have to plot R, S, T, and U. R is at 1, 3. So starting at the origin, 1, walk to 1, fly up to 3. That's R. Then S, start at origin, walk over to -2, fly up to 3. That's S. And then for T, start at the origin, walk to 0, already there, fly down to -1. That is T. And lastly, U, walk to 2, and then fly down to -2. And there you go.